Majority Leader, Mr. Hoyer.
The Majority Leader is recognized.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. The last time we voted on this issue, the floor was packed on both sides of the aisle. And I observed at that time that, and I repeat today, I really doubt that there are any of the 435 of us, Madam Speaker, who believe that this matter that is included in this rule ought to be defeated. I would hope that's the case. The gentleman who represents the minority party on the Rules Committee has confronted this issue in the past. He confronted it in 2002, he confronted it in 2003, he confronted it in 2004, and again in 2005. On each of those occasions, he voted to increase the debt limit. His party was in charge. Unfortunately, my party voted against it at that point in time because we weren't in charge. The point I make is that the American public too often believes that we do not do what we think is the responsible thing for our country, but what we think is the right thing to do from the perspective of our party. They're not impressed by that kind of action. In fact, not only did Mr. Sessions vote to increase the debt limit, numerous occasions, many of us voted against it, essentially for the same reasons. Because we said the other party had incurred liabilities with which we did not agree. In fact, I'm sure there are all 435 of us can say that we incurred certain liabilities in which we did not agree. But the fact of the matter is, America, voting through its representatives in the House and in the Senate, incurred those liabilities. Creditors throughout the world relied on the fact that the United States of America, the world's wealthiest nation, would in fact pay its bills. I will say that in the future, when this issue comes up, I will not repeat again the mistakes that I made in the past. I said that last time. And if it so happens that sometime in the future the other party is in control and we come to the necessity of ensuring that America can pay its bills, it will be my intention to vote with the majority party to increase the debt limit. Not because I want to see us deficit spend, I don't. I voted for constitutional amendments to balance the budget, to constrain the spending of this body. In a few minutes, I will speak strongly in favor of adopting statutory pay-go, which is made in order by this rule. Statutory pay-go will be a constraint on the spending that this Congress votes for. A restraint to bring in line spending on mandatory items with the revenues and abilities that we have. And so I say to both sides of the aisle, this is not a vote about party. This is a vote about country. There is no one in this room, no one who has raised their hand to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. Not one of us who honestly can say that it is an alternative available to us to not ensure that America can pay its bills. That's what this is about. That's why, my friends on the Republican side, when you were in charge, you voted, in some cases, almost to a person, almost unanimously, to increase the debt 5 times under President Bush. Very frankly, I tell my friends on the Republican side, when President Bush was in office, we did the same thing you're going to do today. We pretended that somehow, because we did not agree with the policies that had led us to the place where we had incurred those debts, that somehow we would take no responsibility for paying those debts. Ladies and gentlemen, our creditors around the world, on whom we are now relying in order to fund our government, don't really care about our partisan politics. They do care, however, about the will that we have to meet our responsibilities, to pay our bills, to meet our obligations to them. Everybody understands that if we did not increase this debt limit, at some point in time, not too long thereafter, checks to Social Security recipients would have to stop. Checks to veterans would have to stop. Checks to employees who work for the government would have to stop. No one thinks that's a rational alternative. We may think there ought to be less or more, but no one thinks that we ought to have none. And so I say to my colleagues, this is a vote for American responsibility, not Republican responsibility or Democratic responsibility, but for American responsibility. Both of us have pursued politics in this matter. The American public is hopeful, as we all can see, that at some point in time, we all realize that playing politics is not the policy that Americans want us to pursue. They want us to pursue the well-being of our country and of our citizens. We have incurred debts. We expect people to pay the debts they owe us. And they, in turn, expect the same. That's what this vote is about. And so that there are not a lot of members on this floor. I hope a lot of members, Madam Speaker, are watching. Because I hope when they come to this floor to vote for this rule, which will deem the authorization of the ability of America to meet its responsibilities, that they will vote for their country, for our citizens, and for our responsibility. It's the right thing to do. Every one of us on each side of the aisle, Republican or Democratic, knows it's the right thing to do. Let's do the right thing. I urge support of this rule. I urge support of the statutory pay-go provision made in order by this rule, which will say that notwithstanding the fact that we have authorized additional debt, we are also at the same time going to constrain the incurring of additional debt beyond that which we are prepared to pay for. That's what families have to do. That's what we need to do. Vote for this rule. It's the right thing to do. I yield back the balance of my time.
The question is on ordering the previous question on the resolution. Those in favor